You're listening to the Bleach Brothers podcast, hosted by B-Word and Jake.
Hello, everybody. This is B-Word with the B-Word and Jake Bleach Brothers podcast. Welcome in, Jake. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm wonderful, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. You know, one thing that the pandemic has kind of taught me is that there's an overabundance of TV out there. What did you watch that was pretty significant over the pandemic?
I watched a show called Succession on HBO with my mom.
Okay.
I watched The Queen's Gambit, and then I rewatched a lot of like MCU shows, a lot of DC movies. I think they do a good job with their cartoon films, their animations.
Okay.
That was about it. I tried to also like just do a lot more cooking and hang out with the kiddos. But when I had a chance and laid down, I rewatch shows a lot. So like I'm right now going through one of my favorite shows of all time is Scrubs.
Oh, okay.
And I'm rewatching. I'm on season 5 right now, so I'm going through that probably for about the 12th time.
I'll tell you, the pandemic was fun because I think everybody kind of binged Tiger King, and that kind of got all out of control. That was a cultural phenomenon that happened. But some shows that I rewatched during the pandemic, Sons of Anarchy, one of my favorite shows. I rewatched that during the pandemic. I've rewatched Entourage, by far probably one of my favorite shows that any channel or any television producer has made. So definitely good there. But I'll tell you, I'm a pretty big fan of the Netflix Marvel series. You've got Daredevil, you've got Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, The Punisher, Daredevil, the Defenders. And so, I think one of my favorite ones on that was The Punisher. Just because I thought it didn't need to connect to really anything to be able for people to understand it. But kind of thinking about that, you and I are big Marvel fans. We're pretty big fanboys when it comes to the movies and really the culture of it and all that sort of stuff. It brings me to this question. When it comes to Marvel television, there's been an overabundance. There's been the ABC series of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter that is supposedly tied into the MCU, right?
Correct.
And then there's the Marvel Netflix series where they talk about, quote-unquote, the event in New York City, and that's supposed to be...
or the blip, or
Right, it's supposed to be Avengers, but that's all Netflix, but it's supposed to be connected, right? And then for a brief moment before Disney bought Fox, they had a couple different shows on that Marvel and Fox co-produced together, Legion and Gifted. And
can I ask you a question during that?
Yeah.
Do you even think that even counts? Because, that was, I don't know. Technically, Marvel was affiliate. They just it's sort of like how Universal loans Hulk, right? They just loan them.
I mean,
it's partial rights.
It's partial rights because it was Fox characters, but it was Marvel produced, right?
Yeah, so it's Fox characters they own. They partially helped produce it,
right?
But it was Fox's garbage fire.
Right.
Because they suck.
Right.
So
Anyways,
I
think so. Obviously, it's pretty well negated because Disney's purchased Fox now, or at least purchased the rights back from those characters, right?
Okay.
But now we're getting into a whole new area of Marvel TV with Disney Plus. WandaVision's been released and it has ended. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier's been released and it has ended. We're preparing for
Captain
Loki.
America and the Winter Soldier.
That's what it is now, yes, but it was the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, yeah.
I know, okay.
And now we've got Loki coming out here in a couple weeks, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's some other titles that are coming out. So you've got Marvel's What If, you've got Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, Moon Knight. I think you and I are pretty excited for Moon Knight.
Moon Knight's one of my favorite characters of all time. So
should be pretty badass in my opinion. And then She-Hulk, amongst others that are currently being planned, right? So let me ask you this. With the Marvel thumbprint on a television series, right? So we can go back to the ABC movies, the ABC TV shows, the Netflix TV shows. Also, there was Runaways on Hulu. There was Hellstrom on ABC, Cloak and Dagger on Freeform, right? I don't think anybody watched The Inhumans, so we don't have to talk about that.
I watched it. We don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, no, we don't need to talk about that. It's almost like the newest Fantastic Four movie. There was no reason to watch that one, right? So, what's your favorite, man? Which one with Marvel's fingerprints do you like the most?
I'm gonna have to say the Netflix series. I think it's because the catalog's bigger. I think when this is all said and done, the Disney Plus series are gonna be better. But there's a few reasons behind that. One, the budgets are huge and they know they could put it behind it. Two, they've connected the universes very well. And three, they actually are picking characters that we more so care about. Not that you don't care about the Defenders, and I liked the plan that they had going. But some of the Netflix series, like, it felt like there were a lot more filler episodes, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, because wasn't there like 12 or 13 episodes on Netflix?
Don't get me wrong. I like having series be long. Like I one of my complaints about Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was only 6 episodes, and I felt like
you were
they
robbed.
They didn't achieve anything that I actually thought was going to happen, how it was described all over the place. But like WandaVision, I think was the perfect amount. It could have been 1 episode less. But out of all of them, my favorite is probably Daredevil season 2, and then The Punisher.
Okay.
And mainly because The Punisher's in Daredevil season 2.
Right, that's where he's introduced.
The best acted. Yes.
Right. Okay, so I think that the last season of Daredevil was really good.
Okay.
And I don't know that would be my favorite series. I think my favorite series would have to be Punisher season 1, not Punisher season 2. Season 2 was good, but I think season 1 really sizzled, and I think it was a really good storyline. But
there was a season 2 of Punisher?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a season 2 of Punisher. I'm pretty sure there's a season 2 of Punisher. I'm 100% sure that there's a season 2 of Punisher.
Are you sure on that?
I'm pretty sure. Now that you're calling me out, I'm going to look it up. But yeah, no. There's 2 seasons. There's 26 episodes of the Punisher. So, fact checked on the spot.
Oh my God! You know what? I must have just not. I mean, I watched. Oh, you're right. I watched them both. Oh God, I feel like an idiot.
Wait. Since we're recording, what are those 2 precious words that you said right there?
I'm retarded. I'm dumb.
Well, I mean, it's close, man. It's close. But I kind of feel like you said I was right. But anyway, before we get too far down that path, Punisher season 1 was definitely my favorite. However, is it fair to say that we can throw away Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? That we can throw away Agent Carter?
No.
Well, see, here's the reason why I say this is because you had Marvel Television, and then you had the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And while they tried to take Agent Coulson in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and kind of cross that path, aside from that, Kevin Feige's already come out and said, I don't even recognize that. Yet we're hearing rumors of like Daredevil showing up in Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man, Homecoming, Far From Home, Can't Go Home, whatever.
No Way Home. Yeah.
No Way Home. There you go. We're hearing rumors of Daredevil in there. We're hearing rumors of Daredevil in the new She-Hulk series. We're hearing rumors of these characters potentially coming over. Jessica Jones might even, in fact, be in She-Hulk. So you don't hear about Agent Coulson anymore, and really he never mattered in the MCU since he died and Nick Fury set him up with false playing cards in his pocket. Like
right. I mean, the reason I say you can't get rid of it though is because one, we have to remember that that was when the studios were still separate and Kevin Feige wasn't the head of all of it. Not that you need always one person over everything. I mean, we've seen that when we got our fanboy wish for Joss Whedon to go take over a Snyder Cut when we thought it was going to be bad, and how that turned out.
Yeah, that turned out pretty bad.
But two, you have episodic tales of characters that still needed to be told in a different way. And the thing is the reason I don't mind them is because I don't really connect. Like, I'm never going to watch Cloak and Dagger on Freeform. That channel is not meant for me. It reminds me of all the CWDC stuff. That's why I don't watch it. It's not my age demographic.
Yeah.
I'm not about it.
Smallville was cool when it first came out, and I've never watched it again.
But the reason I like that they do that is it makes me feel like that's their garbage disposal area, that they need to make a show and, fulfill something. So they go over here and do it and go, yeah, Freeform, you can have Cloak and Dagger, because who really gives a crap? Okay. So
Right.
when they did Agent Carter, I'm happy that they did it on that on that plane. So I didn't really have to pay attention to it or care about it. Now, would I rather them never make it? I don't know. I don't. It's neither here nor there. I wish they never would have made Inhumans.
I have never watched one episode of Agent Carter. Do you know why?
Why?
Because nobody gave a shit. I mean,
She was hot.
Well, yeah, okay, fine, but the storyline sucked. I mean, we just talked about last week that we need a Boobie or a Subi, and there was neither one in this show. It was on ABC. They weren't going to show a Boobie or a Subi, and the storyline sucked, so there was no purpose in watching it. I'm with you. I've never watched Inhumans. I'm a huge fan of Hell on Wheels, and the same actor who was the head of Hell on Wheels, I'm losing his name right now, was the same actor who was the head of Inhumans. And I'll tell you what, I'm no longer a fan of the actor. It was just that bad that I just didn't want to watch it. I agree with you with Cloak and Dagger and the Runaways, for that matter, on Hulu. Those are not my demographic that I want to watch. But here's where I challenge you, man. I see what Disney Plus is doing right now, and I kind of feel like it's a good way to go per se. But if they would have never made a Wanda and Vision, quote unquote, WandaVision television series, would you have lost any sleep at night? Now, granted, that's a really good series. I really like where they were going, but I wouldn't have lost any sleep at night. At the end of Avengers Endgame, Cap gave Falcon the shield. So you know he's going to end up being Captain America. So when they did Falcon and Winter Soldier, okay, I kind of get where you're going. You're trying to get more depth in the character and whatever. I loved WandaVision, not so much Falcon and Winter Soldier, and not because of how political it was or the fact that, there's now an African-American Captain America. I think that that's awesome. They're obviously in the comics, and this is huge, right?
Well, yeah, because I love the red, white, and black. That's
right.
It
was a great storyline. It was a great storyline. But I felt like... So we talked about how 6 episodes for Falcon and the Winter Soldier was too short. Based on the storyline, it really should have been 5 episodes. It was.
Oh yeah, it shouldn't even. They extended it out. One, I told you one of my problems was nobody should ever give GSP George St. Pierre that many speaking lines. That was just terrible.
Right.
Then 2, my biggest issue is when we were sold this series, okay, we already knew he got the shield, and I was like, all right, we're going to develop on that. Because, I mean, like, one point that was always made, like, how can you make Bucky the Captain America after he was a terrorist for so long? It just doesn't make sense.
Of
2,
course.
we all know Falcon becomes the Captain America, and it's great. It's a great story in the comics. He looks good. They nailed that on point. The political stuff aside, I mean, that's going to happen. You got to bring some of the real world stuff into it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we enjoy it, because it's almost more realistic. There's still some fantastical stuff, but it's real. My biggest issue was we were sold that this was going to be like Lethal Weapon buddy cop. Okay.
Yeah, it really wasn't, man. It really fell short.
Well, I mean, like, even when in the trailer, and I will always argue this, I will say this over and over when people listen to this, is that anybody can make a good trailer these days. It's really easy to cut and edit and make something look good. And they made it seem like they were going to be in therapy a lot, and it was going to be hilarious, and you were going to see them, like, to me, it felt like they were going to go out, they were going to kick the crap out of
There was going to be a lot of banter. It was going to be 48 hours.
Essentially, the only banter we really got was when they were walking down the road, and he was talking about his brain overheating, or when he said, "Don't talk to my sister like that." Other than that, there wasn't really any good characters. I didn't like what they did with almost every character in that show, except I did love U.S. Agent. I
think what they did with U.S. Agent was pretty cool. And actually, where the Falcon and the Winter Soldier took it, I really like how they set up the Thunderbolts. And I'm hoping it is the Thunderbolts. Like, I'm hoping it's really Thunderbolt Ross. But I think that that's a really cool way to take the series. And I think for a television series aspect, the Thunderbolts would be amazing. But here's kind of where I'm going with this comparison to Disney Plus. We talk about real life issues and politics and that sort of stuff in Disney Plus, and that's fine. But you go into Netflix, and I love what they did with Jessica Jones season 1. You've got this woman who's absolutely tormented by the Purple Man, right? And he whatever he did to her is completely terrorizing her life. And the way she dealt with that was so awesome. not only was she a badass, but you could
You mean
relate
getting
to her.
drunk and having sex all the time?
Well,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
is pretty-
again, a boobie
I
or
know.
a subi, right?
Boobie.
This is the standard, a boobie or a subi. So, but the best part about Jessica Jones is that whether you're female, you're male, whether you identify as having super strength or your superhero wish is to have invincibility or whatever that might be, right? She was relatable. She had a human aspect to her. And I think that that's where, when I'm watching the MCU, aside from Tony Stark, aside from Black Widow, aside from Hawkeye, we're really not having a human aspect here, right?
I think you're wrong there. I think you're totally wrong because Captain America still has a human aspect.
No,
Yeah, he was given
Captain
a super
America is a super soldier.
He's a
There's
super soldier, but there's still a humanistic aspect to him before his
When's
origin
the-
story.
Okay, when's the last time a human's been frozen for however many years and came back alive with the same strength? Don't
We
worry.
haven't
I'll
woken
wait.
up. We haven't woken them up yet, Brian. They're still in cryo freeze, you idiot. No, but that's the point though. Is they're not as fantastical as the DC universe. Yeah, you have some people but Vision was created like a computer program and AI. Like Elon Musk is probably making Vision right now as we speak. with all
Elon
the
Musk
money he's
is
made on
Vision right
Dogecoin.
now. No,
Okay,
no. Bill
that's
Gates
fine.
made Elon Musk as Vision, and now Vision has turned his back on Bill Gates.
And
Hence
I'm
the reason
totally
why Bill
cool
Gates
with
is
that.
getting divorced.
I
Okay?
like that. Okay, but
So-
no, you can't tell me that all these characters there's no realism to them. Captain America.
No.
They have,
I didn't
they
say
have
all
realism.
these characters.
There's humanistic aspects to them.
Oh,
You can't
yeah.
say that there's not.
So there's a human. You're stupid. Because here's what's going on here. Okay, you've got Falcon, humanistic aspect, right? Okay, I'll give you that one. But you've got Bucky, Cap, Thor, Bruce Banner. You've got all these people that have this quote unquote humanistic aspect, right? Totally fine initially. Then something happens to them that makes them quote unquote super, right? You can't have quote unquote super and still be be human and deal with these humanistic things. And I realize it sounds like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but Jessica Jones had she was conflicted, she was tormented, she was bothered by the things that happened in her life. These superheroes are bothered that now they're super. There's no other way that this is going. And it's like, okay, but you're super. Like, the Hulk's got a big old green lollipop there, right? Use it. Like, so, it's just like, so that's why I have you go to WandaVision, you go to Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you come up with like Loki. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm super excited for Loki, and I'm excited for a lot of these shows. I just think from a human aspect, you've got Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones. Now, Jessica
So you
Jones
want the
is
more? Well, that's the difference.
want
with
the grounded.
Marvel series. Yeah, you want more grounded series, and that was the whole thing. Is when they separate. That's why they separated them too. One thing they never brought up with Kevin Feige and them is there's a reason you don't connect them to the blip, and all they would do is reference it. Okay, it's because if you tried to bring Daredevil into it, he's never going to match up with half the characters. Okay,
No.
So you have to have them grounded and on their own. That's why it's hard to bring them into this because how are they going to match up to like Thor? Okay,
They're not.
right. And so when they have to go fight Thanos, I mean, yeah, they can pull off a few moves like Hawkeye and them did, but it's never going to work out the same. I don't know. I mean, it's I think they're doing the series I'm most excited for is What If.
I think
I
the
was a
What If
big
is
fan
going to
of
be
that.
cool.
I guess the rumor was they had 30 episodes that they were going to do or made and maybe
I think they're still doing it. I think they're still doing it, but my understanding is that they're only releasing like 10 at a time. And so I think What If is coming out in December of this year. I could be wrong on the date, but right around December of this year. And I think
I thought
and I could be wrong on the date, but what they're doing is, animation takes obviously quite a bit longer than live action, and you can see that with Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, just how long it's taking for a sequel. And of course, the pandemic probably doesn't help anything with that, but you're when you're looking at What If, I think that they are actually They have storylines for 30 of them. I just don't know that they've actually produced and illustrated 30 of them. But I know that they're actually setting them up. So there should be 22 of them or 23 of them. There's one for every Marvel movie, right?
Marvel movie, yeah. It's
Right.
like a reiteration telling of that, which I know that that's what they're trying to do, which is cool. I mean, the one I really want, I know is not going to happen, and it might maybe later down the road, but there was a great comic called What If Venom Pool.
Oh,
where
yeah.
Venom takes over Deadpool, and I mean that's a great
Yeah.
character, a great story. It's hilarious. I don't know if they'll ever do it because all the rights that go with that and everything too.
Right.
But
Well, you
that
did
would
hear
just be
that.
fun.
You did hear that Sony is now going to, like Spider-Man and stuff. They're actually going to go on to Disney Plus now.
Yeah, I know that, and I mean I know there's a whole episode with Peter Parker in the What
Right.
If series. I'm just saying, that's also I think a way down the road thing because you still have
Yeah.
to introduce Deadpool and you have to introduce eventually Venom to this universe if they're ever going to cross that part over. I don't know. I feel like Netflix. Those series will. I mean, there's a lot of good and a lot of bad, and some of the bad I don't really hate on. I actually didn't mind Defenders. There were little things I noticed watching it with people was like, in most of their scenes, whenever a character was in it, the color was behind them with
Yeah.
lights
Yeah.
to accentuate it. I mean, there was a lot of good things they did with that series. They missed some marks, yeah. I didn't really love
yeah.
Jessica Jones season 2. I didn't. Iron Fist wasn't bad. I didn't think it was the worst thing though, as people
I
panned
thought
it.
I thought that the last season of Iron Fist really set the character up really well. The first
issue
episode
is,
was
though,
horrible.
But the issue with like people like Iron Fist too is when we got these characters in comics, right? We have so many of them,
Mm-hmm.
and we always compare the two big ones, DC and Marvel. They're like
Right.
the Pepsi and Coke of this, and
Right.
there's a lot of other comic companies. But if you look at Iron Fist's story, right, on paper, he's essentially Batman mixed with like what's
Bruce
that,
Lee.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
he goes, he trains in the mountains, he's rich, he comes back, and takes over the business. I mean, you essentially, it's like these characters are almost borrowed or remade, which I mean, we're going to have to
a
eventually
lot
do
of
it.
them are. A lot of them are, and there's a lot of characters that are very similar. I mean, Batman and Iron Man, I realize are like two of the probably most compared human superheroes, right? Because they're both billionaires.
And they have tech toys and
Right,
they're smart.
right,
Yeah,
right.
and they can go toe to toe with most people. But,
Right.
I mean, but my point is like you're gonna have to like I was gonna say, we are gonna have to eventually go over some of these characters that are like which comic book company did it better, or like how who borrowed what.
Sure.
But it makes it hard to see, or I guess it's hard for them to come up with on film how to not make it look like a copy. Because I mean, when you're watching Iron Fist come back, right? Let's just keep talking about that series, and he comes back. It just reminded you of The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
where
it was
Batman Begins.
It was very Batman Begins-esque.
Right.
But to be honest with you, and I don't know, I kind of feel like I'm chasing my tail here, but I would like to see some of these characters enter the MCU. I mean, if Iron Fist was in Shang-Chi, I think that would be very cool. I think that, I mean, maybe not in the first movie, but I imagine they're trying to do a trilogy for him or something of that nature. So if they were to introduce the Iron Fist in there, I mean, you can completely recast the character. I'm totally fine with that. But bring the character back. I think the character has some substance.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you want so you really like the Netflix series? Do you
I want to
want them
cherry
just to
pick.
continue? But do you want them to continue that story, or do you just want them to start over and bring them back?
I want them to continue the Daredevil story, for sure.
And the Punisher.
Well, I think the Punisher, season 2 really ended on its own. Season 1 was kind of its own thing. I think you can, if they keep John Bernthal as the actor, they could probably just start with a new storyline because there wasn't any cliffhangers. Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage all had cliffhangers. To be candid with you, I never saw the last episode of Jessica Jones because I knew it was being canceled, and I just didn't want, because I knew that the other 3 had a cliffhanger. I didn't want to have another cliffhanger, so I didn't even watch it. But I would actually like to see some of these characters be cherry picked off and put into the MCU. Charlie Cox? Is that the actor who played Daredevil?
Yeah.
I think he was phenomenal as Daredevil. And he would actually be really good in the Disney Plus series. From She-Hulk to even Moon Knight, you can see him in a lot of these different things, and then eventually maybe even a Daredevil series. And I think, the one character out of the Netflix series, out of all the Marvel Netflix series that I just want them to do something with, is the Kingpin. I want him in Spider-Man. I want him to do anything because the character was just friggin' amazing. And the actor Vincent D'Onofrio obviously is a great actor, but I was really sad to know that his character was not going to come back. The actor has expressed interest in being the Kingpin again. I think you can do that in Spider-Man, and that's where I do get excited when they're starting to have rumors about Daredevil being Spider-Man. Now, we'll have to see if that actually happens or not. But I think that would be really cool. I think that again, having some of these characters being sprinkled into the MCU in the Disney Plus side of things would actually probably make me a little happier. I'm not saying that the Disney Plus series are terrible. I think that they're very good. I just don't know, again, that these are worthwhile characters right now. I think we can get there.
See, I want all of them to essentially come back. I don't want to cherry pick. I don't want to start. I mean, I either think it's an end all or be all. You either blow it all up and do it all over, or you bring these people back. Because I don't know, it's a hard disconnect. And mind you, I've been wrong about this before. Remember, I was the one arguing when they casted Chris Evans as Captain America. I was one of those stupid people online saying you can't have the same guy in the same Marvel universe, even though they weren't technically connected. He can't play two different superheroes. And then we got the greatness of Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool.
Oh yeah, with Deadpool
instead of
the Green Lantern. Yeah,
right.
But I think that there's an opportunity here, and I don't mean to interrupt you, man, but I think that there's an opportunity here potentially with whatever they're doing with the Doctor Strange. If you open up this multiverse of madness, where now there's also rumors of Toby and of Andrew Garfield being in this next Spider-Man movie, and then of course you've got Jamie Foxx and the actor who played Doc Ock. You've got all of these hints there. If you're actually introducing the multiverse and having these characters in there, that is your method for cherry picking. You do not have to open a portal like they did in Endgame and bring everybody back.
Yes, but then you have to decide, okay, who was actually connected to the correct blip and who wasn't. You know what I mean? And that's where it gets convoluted.
I don't think you have to deal with the blip at all. You're just dealing with the multiverse. Because the blip
you're dealing with the
happened.
multiverse, but okay, but what I'm saying is like, so you had Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, all of them, right? They were all connected. They're in the same universe. Right. And you're telling me that you could pull Daredevil. Do you mean he just comes from that one universe? And
he comes from
Dr.
the one
Strange
universe and is introduced into this other universe.
Okay, I can see that, I guess. Yeah. I'm just wait. I mean, the one thing I like is I think they've been doing it correctly lately. I'm just waiting to see how it all comes to fruition. I mean, mainly I'm excited about that. I really do want to start. There's only one other series that I want to start that's not really connected, and it just looks funny to me, is MODOK on Hulu.
So when is that one released?
I think it's next week. I gotta look though. I just honestly haven't logged in to try it. I've seen the previews and it looks hilarious. And
that's written by the same people who did Rick and Morty, right? Am I correct on that?
I believe so. And I have a good soft spot. Like, I was a big fan of The Tick on Amazon. I like The Boys. That
I like The Boys
stuff.
a lot.
I like those series that, that also don't take comic books too seriously. You know what I mean? Like this looks interesting because it's like a breath of fresh air, a breather, almost like a Simpsons, Iron Man, if you were, where you don't have to have it all be so serious, and not everything has to be so connected. I think that's why Joker was so successful. It's connected, but it's not. And I think DC's trying to play it really smart now by realizing they screwed up a lot. And yeah, they had a chance to do the multiverse first, and I think they're going to get it right when they get there. But I think they're being smart by going, okay, this guy's over here, and it's technically in a universe, but it's a different universe. So we have two Jokers at the same time. I think Marvel is sort of taking notes on that first, and I think that's the first time they're sort of looking at DC and going, yep, Okay, that's a pretty smart move, and so we'll see what they do.
I have zero faith in DC right now. I love what they did with Joker, and that's really it. I mean, Wonder Woman. I thought Gal Gadot was a great Wonder Woman. I thought the storylines were okay, but I struggle right now. I mean, I think if Zack Snyder would have had his way, we'd probably be looking at a different storyline. Should he not have had that personal issue that brought in Joss Whedon? And like you said, you and I are Joss Whedon fans back all the way to Firefly. So the guy's a great storyteller, but I think you said it best, is that he's a filmmaker. He's not necessarily a creator. He's the person that goes in.
He's
and
a
just
studio
does
guy.
What the studio
You tell him
says.
to come in, and they tell him
Yeah.
to do. But I think one thing that we're missing the point on, if we're really going to get on, and I'm not trying to get on this huge Zack Snyder train, but I'll make a quick point. If he would have finished the movie and the terrible tragedy didn't happen with his family, we got to still remember that the studio still would have had control. Okay,
Right.
It's not like he would have still been able to do this 4-hour epic
Sure.
long vision.
Sure.
They would have still cut and did this and that. I mean, it's not like Joss Whedon came in and knew he can make it humorous, and he had success, but they also knew he was a studio guy, as I've said before. But it's not like the film we got with the Snyder Cut. We got that as fans demanding, and it finally happened.
Yeah.
Okay. That film would not have came out either. So, that argument that when people give it is, I don't know. I mean, I think Zack Snyder's vision was great, but when I hear the stories of what 2 and 3 would have been, I just shake my head going, nope.
and yeah, I definitely struggle with that. My hope would be that certain things would be nixed, but regardless, it was a great time to watch the Snyder Cut. But I do think now that we're coming into summertime, we've got Black Widow coming out.
Right.
The Eternals has been or has had their little teaser trailer that came out. Obviously, we got Loki coming up, so it's going to be a good summer, at least for Marvel, for entertainment produced by Marvel. And I think that we're going to be doing good there. But I'll have to tell you, man, summertime is one of my favorite times, because right now I'm brewing a honey ale and I'm brewing a honey nut brown. And those, I think, are really good beers for the summertime. But I know you, as the chef, as the resident expert in this topic, you also like to cook with beers, but you also like to pair a little bit. So when we're grilling, 4th of July, Memorial Day, et cetera, so forth, talk to me a little bit about your favorite beers in the summertime.
Summertime beers. My favorite, I'm a go-to with Hefeweizen. I think it's because I'm the opinion that you need lemon in it, and it brightens it up. Hazy beers are probably, so if I ranked it, I guess I would say Hef first, sour second. As we know, I'm a huge sour fan.
Okay.
I think those are both bright, citrusy. They open up very well. You don't have to have too many, because that's another thing when it's super hot out. The last thing you want to do is fill up on something and not feel good.
Sure.
Third would be Kolsch. I'm a huge Kolsch beer fan, and I don't know if you know a lot about Kolsch's.
I don't know much.
So the cool thing about Kolsch's is they're essentially beers are broken down into ales and lagers, right?
Right.
So ales are warmer fermented and top fermented. Lagers are colder and bottom fermented. A Kolsch is a little bit of both. So a Kolsch takes ale yeast and then they ferment it like lagers.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a best of both worlds German beer. So it drinks really light, but then still has the heaviness of flavor of other beers, so it can still kick you in the ass a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh, fantastic.
And not to the point where it's too heavy, but like you ever get a beer and it looks so light and you're like, oh, that's gonna be almost like a Coors Light. It's so
right.
I call it clear amber.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how Kolsch comes to the table. Not a lot of bubbles, stuff like that. And when you drink it, you're just surprised. It is a beer that I will say, I drink it a little faster than theirs. It has to be super cold for me to enjoy it. Not that, any beer I really like warm, but some beers you can sit and sip and they can warm up in your hand and then you can finish it. This is one of the beers I need it to be cold all the way through to really enjoy it. Fourth would be hazies, as I talked about, and the difference between hazies and hefts. Hazies are just unfiltered.
Right.
And up here in the Pacific Northwest, they do a lot of hazy beers lately, a lot of hazy IPAs. And so it could get very convoluted. At first, when they were coming out, I just thought people were being lazy and not filtering their beers and just be like, oh, yeah, let's just throw that out there. It's a hazy. Sort of like the double IPA movement, where I felt like they were just accidentally pouring in too many hops.
Sure.
And calling it. But now I think they've really gotten the metric down, and they're doing it well. And then I guess 5 would be Saisons.
Yeah, that's on my list too.
And Saisons are really good. If I had to choose between sours and Saisons, I'm always going to go towards a sour, even though a Saison can have that profile. But the ones I've had a lot lately are actually finished in red wine barrels.
Oh, really?
And so they even have more of an oomph to them if they were. And so honestly, it's one of those. I'll have one or two. But that would be my top 5, I guess, of types of beer I would have in the summertime.
Okay.
And that's whether it's outside, inside, whatever. I think, it goes with the mood. It goes with the weather. It goes with the food you're going to be eating. Because I don't know about you, when I'm eating in the summertime, I eat a lot lighter.
Yeah.
I don't like a lot of fried stuff. Like the other day, I made a quinoa salad with grilled chicken. I put it on my Instagram. If you want to check it out, it's delicious. So I do a lot of lighter food. So I like to drink lighter too. What about you? What are your tops?
Well, first and foremost, I think we agree upon number 1. I think in the summertime, especially when it's warm out, a nice Hefeweizen is really good. And so, you did a really good job of explaining that. So I think I'll just kind of move on to the next. I kind of like a little bit of a fruit ale, a nectarine ale, a peach ale.
Like a framboise or
yeah, a little bit. I like the fruit taste. Unlike you, I am not a sour fan. I don't like sours at all. But I think if you get a nice fruit ale, something that's not overbearing in taste, but is still rather light, I think that those go really good, especially near a body of water somewhere. I think shandies are really good.
Can I ask you before you go to shandies? So for fruit beers, what? If you had to list this, like, what kind of fruit do you think is best in beer? We all know citrus is king, but like if you could pick out a fruit,
I don't really
that's
like
the fruit I want in it.
Yeah, I don't know that I really want something citrusy in the fruit ale. Nectarines, peaches, pears, plums.
So stone fruits. You're a big
Yeah, that's probably where I'm leaning. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And so like Deschutes has a really good what is it, nectarine ale, I think that they have fresh squeezed. Yeah. So that's really good. Something like that. I think again, first I'd go for Hefeweizen, but then if we have to do something else, we're going to do like a peach ale or a nectarine ale or something of that nature.
Okay. See, for me, which is off the wall, I think people think I love blueberries in beer.
Yeah,
I think
that's not where we're agreeing.
It's one of those things, though. It's like, because I had it explained to me best with a buddy of mine. We were golfing the other day, and he goes, "You like blueberries?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "I like blueberries in things like muffins,
oatmeal,
pancakes."
Yeah.
Oh, and he goes, "I hate eating blueberries on their own." I was like, "Why?" He goes, "They don't taste very good." And I never thought of it because I eat blueberries all the time, and I love them. And then I've talked to other people that are like, "Yeah, they're not really a great fruit on their own." And I think that's what I like about them in beer. It's different. It's not that like I want to say it's almost like a tin like metal flavor they have a finish to, but I think it adds an interesting finish to a beer that's not found with any other type of fruit.
Well, this is your opinion, and I think I'm just gonna like shy away from that real quick because I don't agree.
Okay.
And so I think Leinenkugels has a good summer shandy. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And so that's probably another good one. I think that one's actually really good. If you're doing appetizers outside, wings or something of that nature. But you're the chef. You'll tell me a little bit more about pairing it. But that's when I'm thinking summer shandy, I'm thinking sitting outside on the porch or the patio, and just really kind of having some finger foods. Same thing with you. I love a good Saison. I think it's really light. I think the taste is rather crisp, and I think a good crisp beer on a hot day is something that's just a little bit forsaken. because while it's drinkable, while you can drink it fast, you can drink it slow. I think having that crispness in the beer actually makes it really, really good on a nice hot day. And then my final,
they always need to be super, super cold. A beer has to be super cold to be on a summer day.
Yeah, definitely. But my final beer would be a light ale, like a honey ale. Would also be a good thing. I'm a fan of dark beers, but if it's really hot outside, or if I'm sitting outside, or it's whatever the case may be, sitting out by the beach or whatever, I'm not a big dark beer fan in that scenario. So these would probably be my top 5 as far as for beers in the summertime.
Okay. Now, before we get into a topic like, I want to talk about like the best beers I'm drinking right now, I guess, or the ones I would recommend, like the actual ones. Are you a drink out of the can or bottle, like at home? Okay, I'm not saying at a bar where they're gonna pour a draft.
Sure.
Because we're almost always gonna go for a draft over a bottle unless that's what you want and they don't have it.
Right.
Are you a put the glass in the freezer, pour it in the glass, or are you a just crack the can, drink out of the can, have a koozie? Or just drink out of the bottle? Like how do you go about it?
I'm more of a drink right out of the bottle or the can. I have beer steins. I have different glasses to be able to pour different beers into. But I think it's so much more refreshing to just pull it out of the refrigerator and just drink it as is.
Oh, we can't be more opposite. I'm a baby. I do like to have the glasses in the freezer. Like I said, I like it as cold as humanly possible. Without freezing it. But 2, it's almost like wine in the sense I like it to get almost aerated. I like to have that pour and see the head come off the top, and I think it opens the beer up more. Especially when you're talking about crisp beers. It's different, I think, when you're having a heavier beer. When you're having a light, crisp beer, it's almost like when you were a kid and you poured a Sprite, right?
Right.
That refreshing feeling when you take a sip of the first foam and it make your nose tickle.
Wait, so are we talking like Throw Mama from a Train, where she opens the Pepsi, she puts it in the glass, and she brings it up to her mustache right after she goes,
exactly.
Ellen!
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. No, and that's what I enjoy about a fresh beer, especially in the summertime. Now, if it's the wintertime, yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I just want a can, I just want a bottle, and I'm just gonna crack it and drink. And right. I think that the type of beer changes that for me too. But I guess if I'm gonna go into, I'm gonna pick 3 top, because I'm in the Pacific Northwest where we have a ton of beer.
Sure.
Okay. And for the summertime, the recommendations I would give is, one is you've heard of Barrel-Lick Brewing before, have you not?
I have, yes. Okay,
so they have have you ever had Gozas?
No, I have not.
So it's like a sour. They have one called Nice and Easy, and I would totally suggest. The first time I had a Goza, there's a brewery, and not to get on a side story, but when you first have a beer and you realize it. And it turns you on to something, that's the one that's going to be the most memorable.
Right.
There's a brewery called Grains of Wrath up here. And when they first opened, they were just winning award after award after award. And I went in there and they had this Goza on tap forever. And that's what turned me on to them. And I'm not saying theirs isn't good. It was one of my favorites, but they don't really make it anymore.
Okay.
And so Barrel-Lick Brewing's Nice and Easy Goza is probably my number 1 that I'm going to enjoy this summer. Breakside Kids These Haze.
Okay.
It's like an IPA, mixed fruits, and it's like a mixed fruit IPA with an East Coast hazy feel. Light, but a little bit of heaviness at the end, I'd say. And then my final one is a brewery up here called 5440. They have Sabro IPA, so SA, and then like a little an apostrophe, and then bro.
Right.
And honestly, it has notes of blueberries, so I would suggest trying it, Brian. I think you'd be surprised. It's not like a dark blue beer that's super blueberry heavy like some other ones, but it does have a few of those notes at the end of it, and it's a really good summer beer, I'd say. So,
while I don't live in the Pacific Northwest, we do have some breweries here. Namely, probably a big one that a lot of people have heard is Great Basin. Great Basin is here in this area, and they have the Icky, the IPA, Ichthyosaurus. That's actually a really good IPA. I'm not like the world's biggest IPA fan, but I think that's really good. However, in their seasonals, one of the seasonals that I tried by mistake that wasn't very good that I think that you might like is actually their Bitch and Berry, because like you said, you like blueberries. Well, there you go. There's some blueberries for you. But I'll tell you what I like in the summertime. Lagunitas actually has their little something. I think is how you pronounce it, little something ale. And that's actually a really good, refreshing one. But I'll tell you, my favorite brewery. So I'm located in Carson City, Nevada. And there is a brewery here locally in Carson City, Nevada called Shoe Tree Brewing Company. And
I hear you. I see you posting them all the time.
Oh man, they know my name. I walk in and they're like, "Brian," and I'm like, "Yeah." And it's amazing, right? So now I primarily drink their amber ale that they have there. However, they have this new one called the 40 Mile Lager. And it's really, really good. It's refreshing. It's light. They have we were outside they have an outside patio that's full of all these different patio tables and all this sort of stuff. I was out there with friends. We have a Friday night tradition that Friday nights we actually go out and we have Shoe Tree. We all bring some finger foods and whatnot. And I had their 40 Mile Lager last week, and let me tell you, on a nice warm night, that one really hit the spot. So I was really thankful for that. And shouts out to Shoe Tree. If anybody's in the Carson City area, you need to go visit Shoe Tree. And Jake, next time I make my way up to your area, we're gonna hit some of those breweries too.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do the people. So I don't know if they're aware of this, but they will be in October. So it's my 5th year marriage anniversary.
Yep.
And it's not just my marriage anniversary. We're actually having a anniversary party for my bachelor party.
Yes, we are,
because we're that close.
Well,
and we'll get the steak that we're finally owed from Aaron.
Yeah, let me interrupt you there because we deserve the steak. We've talked about this before, and I'm going to bring it into the show because I feel like the audience, specifically Aaron, needs to know what life is like without that steak. It is so much worse than what it would have been.
First world problems, bro. You have so.
I am just telling you. We for your bachelor party, we went out. And we had a good time. We started out with beer and breakfast, and then we got our hair cut by topless women with armpit hair. And
yours had armpit hair. Hold on, before you finish that, my favorite part is you were so excited you kept going. I see a nipple. I see a boobie. It's
boobies and subies, bro.
And then
boobies
all of a sudden
subies.
she lifted her arms to cut the top of your head, and then all of a sudden you just stopped and you just put your arms to your side, and we're all looking at you like, "What the hell just happened?" And you're like, "Oh, there's hair," and we're like, "Yeah, we're getting our haircut. There's hair."
Dude, you don't even understand, man. We're sitting here in Portland, and initially this woman raises her hand to cut my hair. And I'm like, "Oh my God, she's got Chewbacca tattoo in her armpit. That would have had to hurt." Right. And man, let me just explain. I was mistaken. That was not Chewbacca. It could have been, but so we did that. We had a good lunch. We went to a couple breweries downtown, and everything.
Cigars,
Yep, everything was leading to this nice steakhouse. And Jake, what was the steakhouse in Portland we were supposed to go to?
We were going to El Gaucho, and the issue was the one person I was the proudest of that night, besides my brother for doing a really good job, for getting this pretty much organized.
Was
for
Greg?
Me. I mean, Greg, and here's why. Greg's a small. I would consider myself a big man. Would you say that, Brian? I'm a tall guy.
You're tall.
I have broad. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a big man, but I'm a tall and broad shouldered.
Us next to each other looks like the number 10.
Right, and so. And my brother's a big guy, and Greg's not the biggest guy, my brother-in-law, and he knows it, and he's an ex-Marine. Him and my brother really get along. And then Aaron, my best friend from college.
Wait! I have to interrupt you because both Caleb and Greg will tell you never are an ex-Marine. You're always a Marine.
I know. I'm sorry. Semper Fi. No, they have a funny backstory too, which we'll get into one day. But Aaron's my best friend from college, and he's a little Hawaiian. And I say that nicely. I mean, he's a good, but he was we were all drinking a little heavy, and I mean, most of us are holding it pretty well. And we look over at Greg, and my brother orders shots, and we're all shooting pool before we're going to dinner. And Greg just looks at us and goes, "No." And we're like, "Come on." He's like, "No." He goes, "I want to be coherent and enjoy the evening." He goes, "Or I won't." And then all of a sudden we look at Aaron, And Aaron is
He
already
might as
past
well have
where
been a
he's just like,
topless lady in a strip club.
because he was just like, he was
Yeah.
like, I don't care. And we're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is going to be bad. We weekend at Bernie's him into the restaurant. And what I mean by that is me and my brother held him up,
Yep.
held the back of his hair, and walked him into the restaurant and sat him down. And we got kicked right out.
Well,
because you could not fall
wait.
asleep.
So in this particular area of Portland, there's an issue with transient population, and so what they wanted to avoid is people coming into the restaurant and sitting that weren't patrons. Am I correct?
Yes. And so
Okay.
he was hammered and sleeping and lots of problems.
And so here we are. So it's the five of us guys, and we're sitting at this table. And I don't remember the order we're sitting in, but I just remember on somebody's phone. I don't even remember whose phone it is. We're taking a picture of us at the table, and all I know is it was my hand and your brother Caleb's hand holding Aaron's head up for the photo. That's all I remember.
Yep.
And next thing I know, I smell this wonderful steak. And as the steak hits my nose, the smell of this steak hits my nose, we are promptly escorted out and told to not return. Otherwise, we have to, leave Aaron to fend for himself on the sidewalk. And so, bless his heart, Greg ended up hopping into the Uber with Aaron because there's no way that Aaron would have went anywhere in an Uber by himself. And you, me, and Caleb, we ended up going and getting steak tacos from Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
My favorite, though, is my brother convinced the girl to give it half free. I think we ordered $70 worth of steak tacos, and he got half of it for free.
Yeah.
My brother worked his magic, and he just turns around, being the simple man he is. He goes, "At least we got steak." And we had it with Macallan 12-year age.
Yep.
Scotch.
Yep.
And we finished the night, and then, the wedding was great the next day.
Yep.
But we decided on that day that we were going to do a 5-year anniversary.
Right. And that's coming up
and
this
everybody's
year.
going to come up. Yep. And so we're going to be going to Bend. We're going to do the Bend Ale Tour.
Yep.
Which is where you just go around to all the breweries, you walk around or you hit it, and you hit them in order. And so we're all going to do that. And of course, we'll talk about it on the show and talk about a few of the beers we had, do this remote, and it'll be it's going to be a good time. I mean, I already have I think I did a great job with the groomsmen gifts.
Oh, yeah.
I already have them all purchased and made for this.
Nice.
Because you know me, how I like to do that type of stuff. I got you guys really good handmade bottle openers, knife, gun,
Yes,
flashlights.
you did. As a matter of fact, my handmade bottle opener goes with me damn near everywhere. And so, yeah, Jake certainly did it up for groomsmen gifts. So if there's anybody in the audience that's out there getting ready to get married, and you're looking for groomsmen gifts ideas, put them in the comments. Just say in the comments what you're looking for, and Jake will turn around and respond to you. But no, Jake, you did an awesome job with the groomsmen gifts. You did an awesome job asking us to be groomsmen. We had a shot delivered in the mail. With a little tag
Oh, yeah, you had a
around
little
it.
package.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
with a little tag around it that said, "Would you be my groomsman?" So it was pretty legit. It's going to be a fun 5-year anniversary. Of course, just a few months away. I almost feel like it's my 5-year anniversary, just because of how much we've talked about that steak. And I don't know if I've over talked that steak at this point to where actually when it does happen, I might not even like it. So
Right, it might be so far. But, well, I mean, because you know my wife. She's an amazing woman. Everybody gets along with her. She's the sweetest thing on the planet, and she's smoking.
she is pretty hot.
That doesn't mean though. Okay, so we've talked about beer. We talked about everything. I do want to get on this point. Who is the hottest character that has been made into a live action out of comics? Okay,
Out
of all
comics,
comics,
okay.
and you could do Marvel, DC, anything. Who has been the hottest iteration, in your opinion, of a character in live action?
I've got a top 2, but the last time you asked me a question, I took one. I took your answer, and so I'm gonna surrender my response until you're done responding on this, and then I will give you my answer.
Okay.
So let me reiterate it to you: who is the hottest comic book character that has been made into a live action series or movie?
Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow.
Okay, not even in my top 2, so we're good there. I was actually kind of worried that I was going to steal one from you, so I have 2, as I said.
Okay.
Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is smoking hot, and I think her outfit's good.
Yeah.
I think everything about the Subi is good, but but here's my other, okay? Tomb Raider, Lara Croft.
That's a video game.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
They- I'm pretty positive.
I know they make
I'm
comics. They
pretty
have
positive
comics, but that's
that they made comic
there's
books
comics.
out of.
There is.
Yeah, and so and here's the thing, it would be the Lara Croft in the newest iteration. It would not be Angelina Jolie.
Why the newest iteration?
I just think she looks more natural. And I think that
Yeah,
she.
I don't need a comic book character to look natural.
Well,
Okay, we're both. You remember humanistic, okay, Brian, earlier in the show.
Right.
I want them to be super powerful everywhere.
okay, but I'm not trying to. But okay,
I know.
But I'm
You're not.
I'm
yeah,
not
you're
trying to rub one out to anime here. What I'm trying to do is take a humanistic version of a hot chick and make her live action. And I think Gal Gadot did it. I have no clue who the actress's name was who played Lara Croft in the new one. As a matter of fact, the movie sucked. But what I'll say here is that she was good looking. She was phenomenal. So let me ask you this, Jake, since you asked me live action. Comic book character that in the comics you had the biggest thing for.
Emma Frost.
Oh. See,
My favorite of all time. Favorite of all time.
Yeah.
There's everything. I mean, here's the reason. I have two actually though.
Okay.
Emma Frost, number one. Outfit's always great. She reminds me of just a cold hard bitch, and it's not that that's what I like, but when I was a younger man, and I was just like, I could see her bossing me around. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like that hot for teacher syndrome, I guess.
I mean,
number two is Witchblade. Witchblade,
Okay.
all time.
I mean, I could see that.
And I think
So-
it's just the outfit. I don't think it has anything to do with anything else. The comics weren't always great. I bought them all the time. I don't think they were the best comics. It's just the outfit. It's just there's something about it. It's just intriguing to me. It's different.
So I had two. Scarlet Witch in the comics I thought was pretty incredible.
Now, are you talking like Golden Age where it was like the weird red outfit?
Yeah.
Or are you talking like the up? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Where she almost looks like she has the Galactus helmet.
Yeah, that one right there. Yeah.
Oh,
because
Brad, I feel
because
bad
I
for
wasn't
you right
focusing
now.
on the helmet at all. I mean, I was talking about an accentuated.
It would get in the way. Oh, you're not superhuman humanistics.
Yeah, the complete non-human, but you could tell that she's well educated with two fists, if you know what I'm talking about, right? And so, the other one though. Is kind of an underdog, and it's one that I'd actually like to see reintroduced into live action. I know that she was briefly in the X-Men movie. I don't remember which movie. I think it might have been Last Stand, but Kitty Pryde. I thought Kitty Pryde was really good, and now Kitty Pryde was obviously younger, right? She's a young teenager, so at the time that Kitty Pryde came out, she was just older than me. Okay, so this is like me to the Pink Ranger or you to the Pink Ranger. Like, it was okay, so we can calm down on all the weirdness. But I thought Kitty Pryde was pretty cool. I thought that was
speaking of
and
weird.
Rogue.
Is it weird to have a crush on Squirrel Girl?
I mean, let me.
I know there's furries. I'm not a furry. I'm not. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a furry, good for you. I mean, you want to bang in a mascot costume, good job.
Okay, but
it's
what
just
about
something about
Babs
her.
Bunny? What about Babs Bunny? You got a thing for Babs
definitely.
Bunny?
Definitely. Oh yeah, I do. And it's weird. And I don't even care. I'm just totally go
I feel
with
like
it. It's just
I feel
there's
like the
something wrong
FBI
with
is
me.
going to listen to this
there's
podcast
something
right now.
wrong with me right now. But you know what?
Wow.
She's sexy. That's a sexy bunny. If
Okay.
you really want to get into it.
You want to talk about Jessica Rabbit? I'm all about that.
Okay, I was
right?
about to say, yeah, if
Yeah.
we're gonna go
I'm
bunny,
all about
okay,
Jessica Rabbit.
Okay, everybody's always gonna say Jessica Rabbit.
Betty
because
Boop.
That's the epitome. No, oh my God, no. What do you want to twirl squid hair and have a black and white boop boop be doop? No. get
Yes,
outta
I
here.
do. Yes, I do.
I do that. See, that's weird. Squirrel Girl is way better than Betty Boop.
No.
What is appealing about Betty Boop?
What's
She
appealing
looks-
about a chick covered in hair?
That's not. That's a bunny. There's a difference.
Okay.
Oh, Squirrel Girl? Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry. We're not talking about Chewbacca arms. Anyways, No, Betty Boop looks like Hello Kitty from the 50s or the 20s, dude.
Oh,
That's
man,
what you're
you
after.
Just didn't
Look at
do
Hello
that to Betty Boop, did you?
Look at Hello Kitty and look at Betty Boop. They are like it's just a
no.
20s version. That's a sock hop version of
Oh,
Hello Kitty.
no.
You know Hello Kitty was made to represent white girls in America? That's what they thought that white girls look like. So that's a new age Betty Boop.
On
Good
that
for
note,
you, Brian.
On that
Good
note,
for you.
Oh man, I just found out that one of my best friends is into bestiality, and I'm not exactly
I'm not
too sure
no,
how I
I'm
feel
just saying
about this.
Babs is hot,
Now-
dude. You know what? I want to hear
No.
people defend me on this. I just
Okay,
don't Google
all right,
it. Don't
all right.
don't Google it. Do not.
So-
That's just gonna open up a bad Pandora box.
So let's close it up with this.
Okay.
If you've made it all the way to the end of this podcast, first off, bravo to you. Okay.
And
But if
thank
you've
you.
made it all the way to the end of this podcast, here's the question that we want you to answer in the comics. Number one, who is your favorite comic book character that you're attracted to most? Now, if you're attracted to the guys or the girls, whatever.
or Scooby Doo and the dogs, like I was attracted to a bunny apparently.
No.
I hope somebody says
And let me
like Scrappy
and let me
Doo.
repeat this. No. Okay? If you put an animal in the comments, you're a sick fuck. Period. Okay? Now, if you've made it all the way to the end of this, bravo to you. Put it into the comments and let us below. Lastly, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube page, I would strongly suggest that you do. We're trying to get a custom @ or a custom URL, and in order to do so, we need to have 100 subs on YouTube. And as of the time of this video, we're sitting at right about 13 or 14. So we could use your help not only getting subscriptions to our YouTube channel, but also inviting your friends and helping to spread the word. As you can tell, Jake and I have quite a bit of fun. We have a good time. We obviously have quite a bit that we can still touch on for tonight, but for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and close the show out. So with that, Jake, close us out. What do you got to say, man?
The only thing I didn't get to talk about is how U.S. Agent is the Eli Manning to Peyton. But other than that,
That's not
please
provoking.
please follow our Twitter, Instagram, all the socials. Thanks for joining us tonight. Next week we will be back. Well, we will be having episodes every Sunday.
Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
10 a.m. Share them, like them, subscribe, please. And let us know in the comments what else you want to hear from us.
Absolutely.
We'll be doing topics like this every week. And other than that, thanks for having the dirty talk, and come back and get sanitized.